Hello everyone and welcome to my channel here for another song review of Eurovision 2025. Today was the day that the United Kingdom dropped their Eurovision entry. It's called What the Hell Just Happened by Remember Monday. And in today's video I will basically just be talking a little bit about it. We'll play it here, we'll listen to it together. I'll jump around a little bit, pause here and there, and just share my thoughts about what I think of this song. And yeah, hopefully I can get my points across as conveniently as possible. Of course, I want to know as well what you think of this song, so do share your thoughts in the comments. But for now, I'll just get right into it and let's talk about what the hell just happened in this song. Because there's a lot of things going on here. I'm starting playing it here. It's of course the music video as well, so we got a little bit of a clip here of some incredibly loud birds chirping early on. And the rooster, of course. So for the opening, I think this is a very effective way to introduce your song. The vocal is straight to the point and just sparse piano in the backdrop. A neat little chord interval. It's kind of descending in its movement here. We hear the harmonies in the background. Also something, before we get into that first chorus, something that they do which is really fun here is actually the way that the harmonies are being phrased in here. They are so kind of like sparse in terms of their melodic input. They're just there to kind of provide some texture behind. And I particularly enjoy this very, very small line before the first chorus kicks in, how the pausing is done. It's the da, 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 da. Something very kind of charming about that, I would say. It doesn't really have to have more of a flow than that, because it just has its own character and identity to it in terms of that line, which really introduces the following part quite nicely, because this is going to be, as we're going to figure out as the further into the song we get, it's going to be quite a chaotic listen, so we kind of established that from the get-go, I would say. And the first chorus consists of exactly this. Massive drums. The guitar is in there, the bass is in there, and you got this little bit of like a laddering movement in the guitar, which is really nice. If we just solo out, well, I can't solo out, but if you just focus on the electric guitar here in the background, you really hear this laddering movement that it's doing to kind of bridge the lines of the chorus together. Let's listen to it. It's that ba-da-dum, which is kind of just a nice way to transition from one section to the next within this chorus. Just creates a little bit of movement at the background, while of course all of the focus is just on this huge explosion of sound that's really being introduced in this chorus. It's a very dynamic intensity that's just coming across here when the chorus hits. The vocals are very wide, the harmonies of course cover up that and the soundstage as well, and the melody is quite straight to the point. It's a somewhat monotonous hook, I would say, and the further into the song we go, the more we will realize that. But for now, it's quite just, it was still nice, we're still early on, and it's just flowing quite intriguingly so far. Of course, you also have with the backing track, the brass is so kind of absurd in its input. It's such a loud like brass section altogether, it overpowers everything, but I think that kind of fits the chaos of it all as well in here. So playful so far, I'm enjoying it. What's going up next? Well, we'll continue listening. Again, you got like this very dynamic section. The instrumental is cut out entirely for her vocal to just introduce the second verse. And what comes with the second verse? We got the drumsticks being hit because the beat is going to join in. And what kind of beat do we have? Well, exactly this. Incredibly synth heavy. Chanting our little countdown there. And this particular part of the track is melodically something I'm so sold on. I think this verse has a brilliant kind of vocal resonance from, well, one of the girls singing really, here in particular. And even though I think the backing track is somewhat, like it's not the most punchy or forceful or driving in terms of the sound design of this synth work, it's kind of charming, it's a little bit of fun, but it's the melody of these vocals that I think really, really hits. The energy is definitely established here, and it's a very rhythmically kind of smooth continuation in terms of the vocal performance here. So let's just listen to this verse as it is and take in this whole vocal line, because I think it's really great. Matches the energy of this backing track. I like the kind of playful little countdown there. there's just something really nice about that continuous movement within the melody. It's like structured from these small lines, and they kind of descend into each other so that everything feels cohesive in terms of that delivery. Leading into, of course, what comes here, a huge kind of vocal arrangement with the harmonies backing it up. We hear it now. Leading into yet another very kind of sudden change of pace and direction within the track. You never really know what's going to happen next, I suppose. The thing is that I'm so invested into what I've heard from this verse now that I don't really want to get taken out of it already. However, they just throw this transition onto us to actually progress the song forward. And it's playfully done. It's just that I was really enjoying myself in what I was listening to during that verse, and I would have wished for it to stick around a little bit longer. I mean, this hype that's kind of, there's very much like a hype factor within the verse, and now we're kind of killing it with, just dragging it out, kind of using the drums to break up the rhythm and the actual continuous flow of the song, which I find a little bit unfortunate, but it's the way they went with it, so let's keep going. Oh, it's just loading. Okay, it's lagging a little bit for me, unfortunately. It's really nice. So obviously they're slowing it down there, but also one thing I really like about it is the fact that the vocals are harmonies, throughout that whole like breakdown section. Now we're back to the chorus, and I find the chorus to be a bit on the static side melodically here. These "what the hell just happened" lines, so far it's fine, but I'm starting to get a little bit tired of just the monotonous nature of that line. However, what comes after it, still, of course, like the guitar work in here, the brass, it's fun details. But one thing I really enjoy is what's coming up now, next. There's something very kind of like in alignment with what the melodic continuation of the vocals do here with the beat. I think that's very, very pleasant. It sounds great just how it works together. And they're vocally delivering it for sure as well. So a really fun section there. That's kind of the continuation of the chorus. However, now we're back with the main hook line, I suppose. So this is kind of like the line that they rely on entirely throughout the song. But I'm very fond of like the variation sections of the song. So, second verse, back with this kind of hype factor energy within the song. We got a different singer taking over for this part, and I still like these verses are probably like my main favorite parts of the song. I really like that continuous movement and rhythm of the melodic lines in the vocals here. So just enjoying these parts really, even though I'm not particularly excited about the synth work, it's still fine as a backdrop in here, I would say. So let's just enjoy this part, I suppose. A little bit of harmonies there as well, and these, you got the very large kind of harmonies, really kind of stealing the show, I suppose, a lot throughout the song, really. Again, with a little bit of a chopped up bridge section here, again, killing the energy to introduce this. It feels like the song has its set ways of structuring itself, like the transition work is definitely framed in a way that you feel like, okay, this is our go-to way of transitioning the song. It has to be abrupt, it has to be somewhat absurd, it has to be almost distracting in terms of what it does with the flow of the track, and that's intentional. Now, that could of course be something that puts off a lot of people, and it could be something that a lot of people find very playful. It's a very, It's a very brave approach to take, because it could throw off so many people. But the potential payoff that it could have is strong as well. For me, I think that the sections are a bit too brief to really warrant these sudden changes, because you never really have the chance to actually get into one part of the song entirely, because then they break it up into the next one. Of course, we're leading our way into the second chorus here, so let's see what they're doing. It's kind of the same type of approach. Big harmonies is really what ties it all together. Got a little bit of a freedom chanting here. That kind of call response thing is kind of fun, with the freedom, and then someone responds to that, and then you shout freedom again, and someone else responds, and whatnot. A little bit of a breakdown section here, just piano work, and some very intimate vocal.
What the hell just happened?
Maybe a bit distracting to have so much reverb on a vocal in terms of this part. It could have been cooler if the dynamic really had showcased a more intimate vocal without really kind of processing the voice the way that it's being done here. but hey, that's the biggest nitpick I'd probably ever take out. We won't notice that live, of course. So yeah, again, they're playing around a lot with dynamics, really, because this part of the track is, of course, so different to what we're gonna get very, very soon. And what will that be?
The hell just happened?
Indeed. And you hear what they're doing with the drumming here. It's full time. It's very fun. It kind of really bumps up the energy. It matches what we'd got in the verses. You really feel like the drumming certainly kicks in here during this final chorus, I suppose. Again, the vocal harmonies are really just, you know, the kind of cherry on top, I suppose, because that's where they've been the most playful in terms of what they want to present with their song. Hopefully everything's going to sound just brilliant when we see them live as well, of course. Definitely feel like the hype of this part, even though the line is a bit monotonous and now it's gotten a bit repetitive, you still feel the hype because the development of the track puts the full time on the beat here. And I've already told you, this part of the song, like this melodic line, is so good to me. I think that it just has this wonderful rhythm to it in terms of how it moves, and it's a really nice continuation of that chorus. You could kind of consider it to be like the B part of the chorus, and I think it's a very pleasant one at that. And of course, what we're leading into, you know that we're going to have kind of another bit of a playful little, I guess you could call it like the finale is going to have a little bit of a tempo automation because we're going to drag it out as you'd probably expect it to do once you've listened to what they've thrown at us so far. So let's hear what it actually sounds like. I mean, you just hear those harmonies. They're so tight and they work so well together. Very impressive in terms of how that's arranged. I think that the backdrop of the track is also very expressive. That certainly has to be said. And I'm quite intrigued just by the way that they've actually approached that to make the backdrop so kind of substantial in terms of both like the instrumentation being quite heavy and quite... what do you say, like fulfilled, complete. It's a very large kind of collective soundscape that they're presenting, while still definitely putting most of the focus on the vocal arrangement. It could become, you know, quite very distracting and a little bit confusing to listen to because there's a lot of things going on. You can also notice throughout the song the panning is definitely there as well. If we just move back to the very start of the song, I would say, and we can take a listen to what's going on here.
Someone lost a shoe. I'm standing last night's
Okay, wait, we need to get into a little bit later. We'll just wait a little bit. There you go. You hear what's going on in the left ear here? In the final chord here. Just notice. Everything's kind of central. And now, out of nowhere, these kind of, I don't even really know, like what are they, strings? Just kind of effect work or whatnot. But far out in the left ear to just kind of emphasize the fact that, okay, this is an entire soundstage, listen, and you need to be prepared for that. And as the song then progresses, of course, again, you got harmonies, some in here, some in here. It's again, like, just this little line with the, what's it saying, like, clutch my pearls or whatnot. You got the central vocal, you got one vocal in the right, you got one vocal in the left. And look at that, there's 3 of them. So it makes sense. It's just a way of kind of producing the track to make sure that you really feel like it's complete and it's a very wide delivery of it all, I suppose you'd say. So yeah, that's quite nice. Let's actually move back into the first chorus to really just emphasize one thing that I think really stands out about this. Okay, I jumped a little bit too far. Wait, let's say it. So you hear what they're doing with this chorus. It's very kind of dramatic in terms of where the actual rhythmic hits happen. What about the second chorus then? Same thing here, a little bit more of like a standard beat, just has this flow to it. It's not particularly forceful or driving or just punchy or anything. It's just there to add effect and some kind of rhythmic tangible notion within it all. However, as I said, the final chorus, this is where it all kind of goes, it comes complete because you feel like the development of the track has definitely led to this. So let's, and the drumming, full time, great. Feels fulfilling, you know? It's definitely led up to this, and now you feel like, okay, everything's coming together, the instrumentation is still grand, it's expressive, and you feel like the vocal arrangement is, of course, still kind of the selling point. But the drums, they've really shown the development throughout the song, and now here we go, kind of, not all in, I would say, like you could definitely go even more explosive with it, but it's just kind of going in alignment with the fact that the song has actually transitioned and progressed to a point that's different from the starting point. And I feel like this is definitely a song that does develop throughout its runtime. However, it also has so many kind of rigid or abrupt and kind of strange transitions throughout the song that could easily take you out of it. But when you look at it from like the whole perspective, like from the whole song as a whole, if you if that makes sense, you definitely feel like the song had a starting point, and once we're at the end of it, we've experienced a lot throughout, and the song has definitely gone places and a little bit beyond as well, because this song sets out to do that. It's really kind of intentionally chaotic in terms of its flow, and I think that is a little bit fun. If it's like, I would say that I enjoy listening to this quite a lot. I think it's incredibly playful, and I really appreciate what they're doing with it. It's been, I usually struggle with the entries from the UK. I think we're done listening to it, to be honest. I've struggled with many of the songs from the UK before, but I feel like this is one of the most playful ones that they put together. This one doesn't really follow the framework. It's not doing the expected. It's something that feels a bit more passionate behind, and that could obviously that could obviously do them harm as well. But at this point, I feel like just take the risks, just do whatever you want to do, and just kind of embrace your creativity and the way that you want to approach things. And I think that this one does that. And I'm very, very glad that they actually make sure that they stand out a little bit. For me, the hook is a little bit on the, I would say, I guess, static side, or a little bit of a, you know, just this whole melodic line of what the hell just happened. I don't find it particularly exciting, but the song also has these moments where I feel like it's definitely kicking into gear. I can definitely click with it, and I'm feeling some hype from it. It's just that it's a little bit too chopped up for me to really connect with it entirely. However, still, I just have quite a lot of positive feelings about the UK this year, and that is something I'm very glad about. However, that's just me. Please let me know what you think of this song this year, and what your favorite or least favorite parts of it all are. I would be interested to know. And yeah, that's got to be it for today. We'll see what song I'm going to review next, but I'm going to try and do as many as possible that my time allows. So please take a look on my channel, keep an eye on it to see if there are any more reviews coming in the next few days or so, if you're interested. Thank you so much for watching this video though. Please take care of yourselves until I hopefully see you again very, very soon. Bye for now.